Entitled sister opens Christmas gift early, then demands new Christmas gift for a family party. My sister and her family live in another state across the country. Our family trades names so that we don't have to spend as much money since we are a big family. I got my sister's family and sent her a game she had on her wish list for several months, as well as some expansion packs. I went a bit above the family spending limit but was feeling generous. Because she lives so far away, I had it shipped to her home. Apparently, her kids got too excited and she just couldn't make them wait. They were excited when they saw the game, which is great, and at least my sister said thank you. But the next day, she called me to ask me to get them another gift. She is worried that when we do the family Zoom on Christmas Eve, her family will feel left out since they have no gift to open. When I said I couldn't afford another gift, she started crying, told me I should be the one to tell the kids they won't have a gift to open, and used all sorts of other manipulation tactics. I reminded her that I am a teacher, no money LOL, and have my own family to care for, and that she needs to be more responsible. Buy another gift and/or teach her children to be patient. She hung up on me. Next time, they get an e-gift card. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Sure, the kids got too excited because this is their very first Christmas and they had no idea that gifts are customarily opened on Christmas Eve. And of course, she couldn't possibly tell them no. I guess those kids never ever open anything on Christmas then, because how could she possibly keep gifts hidden from them? I'm guessing your sister told them they could open it, thinking she could bully you into buying a new gift. Because I'm guessing she's perfectly capable of telling them no when it's gifts she's giving them. I know they can wait, if for no other reason than I've made them wait for things when I babysat them. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I even paid to have the gifts wrapped with a card, so there's no way it could have been mistaken. It was clearly marked as a gift. She's the parent. It's her job to teach her kids the consequences. They opened it early, that's on them. What makes it even worse is that her kids are mostly tweens to older teenagers. It's not like they are toddlers that don't understand the concept of waiting. She just wanted another present because she is so special. Has she always been like this? She can be very selfless and generous at times, but the entitlement has always been there in various forms. When we were teenagers, she had really long nails. She would use them to scratch anyone who tried to serve themselves at dinner before her, so she'd get first pick or the biggest serving, etc. Or when she babysat, she'd have us hide because we were playing hide and seek. Then she just wouldn't look for us and would watch TV. In reality, she just didn't want to be bothered with taking care of us. Now for the mini updates. I was telling my husband some of your suggestions. He now wants to buy them an advent calendar to help them understand when Christmas is. Don't worry, not actually going to do it. Update 2. So apparently this was cross-posted to other subs. No, I do not wonder if I am the a-hole, nor did I cross-post this for attention. Yes, I know the gift could be rewrapped. I am not really concerned about whether the kids will have a gift to open, as I can easily remind them of the game if they seem disappointed at the party. My sister is an entitled brat and was likely just fishing for another gift. I feel no need to accommodate her. Honestly, the more I've thought about it, the more I think she was the impatient one who wanted to open the gift and then see if she could get another present from me. The kids are usually well-behaved around more mature people who hold them accountable. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my son take his Christmas gifts to my ex-wife's house to share with the other children there? My ex-wife and I had a bitter divorce 6 years ago. We don't get along, and we don't communicate about anything other than our 10-year-old son. Even when it comes to him, we often disagree on big decisions, and we need mediation to come to an agreement. At times, that also means we end up in court for a decision. Things have been worse on that front since she remarried. Her husband has 3 of his own kids, 18 plus, 9 and 8. They also have a 4-year-old together. The problem since her second marriage is the belief they have that I have a duty to make sure things are fair and equal between the children in their house, and because they believe their household is more important and that certain experiences belong to them as a family, I should refrain from doing those things with my son. Examples of this include when I took my son to Disney, and they were upset because they had a 5-year plan to take their family there. This was never mentioned to me, and I felt it was unfair to say I couldn't bring our son until they got to take him. Another example was signing my son up for ice skating lessons when he wanted to. I signed him up close to where we live, which my ex initially signed off on, but then they couldn't afford it for the other kids, or couldn't give them similar opportunities, and it became a big deal. We've also had issues with my son's birthday parties when I throw them because they can't compete with what I do, taking my son and his chosen guests somewhere cool, and their other kids don't get the same. Added to that was the issue of the other kids not being invited, but my son didn't want them there, and I let him decide the guest list. My son loves gaming, so I got him a console for Christmas. My ex saw me buy it a few weeks ago, and she directly asked me if it was for our son. I told her it wasn't any of her business, which she took to mean yes, and she told me I should let him share it and bring it to her house. She has brought this up multiple times since, and I ignore her every time. She told me she was going to ask our son to ask me, and I told her no, and that I would not allow it either way. I said she needs to leave him out of our disagreements too. This was all via email. My son doesn't like sharing at his mom's house because stuff gets broken by the other kids or they hog things. He chooses to keep the things I buy him with me and use them during the weeks he spends with me. I have told him that anything expensive should stay here so it doesn't get broken. I also worry about them keeping nice stuff and claiming my son said it was fine, or my ex arguing that the other kids use it more, or some other nonsense. I could see her pulling a stunt like that. She's furious about the console because it's a Switch 2 and would be perfect for family gaming according to her. But I am not buying for her stepkids or her other biological child. I buy for our son, and our son alone. Does this make me the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Please make sure this is documented for your lawyer. Not letting you do activities with your son on your time goes way beyond a custody agreement. You also have the right to keep property you bought in your home. She's overstepping. That's already taken care of, but she also doesn't get to stop me from doing things. She can request it, which she does a lot, but she can't stop me. Her new family is not yours. You have no obligation to them. If you want the gifts to stay at your home, then they stay. You can and should do what you want with your kid without regard to whether it affects their plans, as they are not your family. You do not have to put things on hold so they can take the experience from you and claim the memory is theirs. Your kid can go to Disney twice. It's not your fault they didn't go earlier. And it's not your fault they're too cheap to buy a Switch 2 for the family and want to use yours as a family gift. Not the a-hole. It will always be my fault to them, but in general, I would hope reasonable people understand you can't always let the other parent be first for everything. This is what my ex and her husband want. They think because they have a bigger family, it should be prioritized that he gets his first experiences with them. In reality, it doesn't work like that because their family isn't my son's only family. I'm his family too, and I'm just as much his parent as my ex is. Exactly. So just ignore them entirely other than child care requirements. I'll continue to ignore unless she threatens to use our son as a go-between, but I will also document stuff like that too. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not caring about my dad's current divorce, even though his almost ex-wife is hurt that I'm not upset about it? My parents broke up when I was 4, but didn't divorce until I was 6, and they tried to make it work a little when I was 5 before pushing through with the divorce. I remember it being really hard, and I was so upset when I realized my family was just never going to be a family again, and I'd always have too. Both of my parents dated and moved on with other people. My mom got engaged to a guy once, and they called it off before the wedding. She's with her current fiancé now, and they're kind of going at their own pace. My dad got married again when I was 8, and they had 3 kids together. But my dad and his now almost ex-wife broke up a few months ago and decided to file for divorce. I was never all that invested in my parents' relationships. I don't get upset at them being with other people, but I don't look at those relationships as inspiration or anything like that. And whether they work out or not isn't something I'm super concerned about. That really upset my dad's almost ex-wife when she realized it. She thought I looked at her and my dad as couple goals, that I saw them as a marriage I wanted to emulate, and that I loved her and wanted us to be a family forever. But I was just like, okay when they told me and my half-siblings about the divorce, and I haven't asked to keep her in my life. When my dad spoke to me a few weeks after they told us, to see how I was handling it, I told him I was fine and things were good. He must have told his almost ex-wife, because she came to the house a few days later and was crying in my face, asking why I wasn't more broken up over the end of my family and why I wasn't more upset that they were divorcing in general. She told me she heard how I acted when my mom and dad divorced, and I was like, duh? Those are my parents. And that was the end of my family. My response made her and my dad argue, and she even called my mom to yell at her. Am I the a-hole? Why on earth would she call your mother? What's she gonna do? She needs therapy or something. She's mad at my parents because of my lack of sadness over the divorce. I don't know whether she thinks my mom caused me not to love her back, or whether it's just a thing where she expected my parents to promote her and my dad's relationship as the one I should admire or something, but I saw it as so weird to do all that when she has her own kids. It's not like she's leaving her marriage without her own kids. Not the a-hole. She's got 3 children who I'm sure are incredibly broken up over this, that she should be focusing on. She does, and my half-siblings are really upset. They keep asking their mom and our dad to get back together, and they've struggled moving between houses. I don't know why she's focused on me when she has them. They're her actual kids after all. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad he either tells his bio daughter that I'm not her mom's kid, or I start getting mean about telling her? So I, 16 female, am adopted. My parents adopted me as an infant. Then my mom died when I was 5. So I didn't get nearly enough time with her, but she was so special to me. My dad remarried, and I don't like his wife. She wanted to adopt me after they got married, and acted way too dismissive of the fact that it would cut all ties with my mom forever, because we don't even have a biological link. The adoption never happened, but his wife was always bitter about it, and I always held it against her that she was trying to do it regardless of my feelings or the severing of my connection to my mom. The legal connection, at least. My dad and his wife had 2 biological kids together. Their daughter is 8, and their son is 4. My dad was so happy when his biological daughter was born, and he acted like a first-time dad. That freaking stung and pissed me off even more. He talked about how his wife gave him the greatest gift he ever got. This, combined with his support for the adoption when his wife wanted it, made me feel like he just hated my mom and saw me as less than. He didn't consider what I wanted or felt. His wife's feelings mattered more. And clearly my mom was just the woman he married until he met his one true love. She didn't give him a real kid after all, just me. For about 3 years now, his biological daughter has been saying her mom is my mom. She corrects me when I call her mom your mom, and she says she's our mom. I told her she's not, and I even showed her pictures of my mom, but it never does any good. It bothers me. But for about 7 weeks now, she's been doing this kind of thing all the time, and she tells me to stop using her mom's name and call her mom. There were times I wanted to tell her to shut the heck up, but I held it back. So I told my dad he needs to fix this. He told me it was harmless, and I told him I wanted it to end no matter what. He asked me what the issue was, and I told him that his wife, who gave him his greatest gifts, will never be my mom. And just because he doesn't love my mom doesn't mean I'll stop for him. He was shocked that I'd say that to him, and asked me whatever gave me that idea. I told him the greatest gifts comments. The way he wanted his wife to adopt me, the fact that he never called me his greatest gift and praised my mom for giving him me, and the way he never talks about her and acts like his wife is his one true love. He told me I was missing context and skipping things he also said, and I asked him to name one thing, but he couldn't. He then told me that he just didn't want me to feel like I couldn't love his wife as my mom, and I told him that his wife is so far from my mom it isn't even funny, and she never will be. I told him I might not be his real daughter, but she is always my real mom, and I won't let his wife change that. I also told him that if he doesn't fix his daughter insisting her mom is mine, I will start being mean when I tell her, and I will tell her exactly what I think about her mom. My dad told me I don't get to take this out on his daughter, and he told me I was manipulative to claim he doesn't see me as his real daughter. He told me he has treated me the same as the others. I asked him if he would encourage them to be adopted by his next wife like he did with me. He said no, but then he tried to backtrack, and I told him to fix this or I'll follow through. He then complained about the ultimatum. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Does your mom have any family you can stay with? Are they involved in your life? You shouldn't have to deal with all this. You're a kid who lost her mom. It's the bonds that matter. For all that she was, is, and always will be, she is your mom. Start being firm with the kid. Stop letting her get away with it. She does. I have grandparents, a great-grandparent, and aunts, uncles, and cousins. I speak to them all the time, but they live in another state. They stop by to see me a few times a year, and I go stay with them for a couple of weeks every summer. Dad gets difficult about that stuff, though. Have you asked your grandparents if you can live with them? Do they know how miserable you are? Is there a counselor at school you can talk to? My grandparents offered to let me stay with them several times, and my dad said no. He doesn't even like me staying with them for a couple of weeks in the summer. Hey, stepmom, wouldn't you like me out of your hair and living with my other relatives? Think you can arrange that with Dad? How do you think that would go? Or does she insist on you being a built-in babysitter and won't want to lose that? I don't babysit, but I'm not sure if she wants me gone or still wants to win. Maybe I could cause enough hell for a while that she wants me gone.